am going live today to talk about haunted travels that I've been going on in the past year. So this is going to be October 2022 into October of 2023. So before I start, I just want to say hi to everybody, and of course a big thank you to my Patreons, a huge thank you to my mods. Okay, let's see. So Richmond was next. What was next? It was St. Augustine, Florida. So this is around the time of, this was in February. And the biggest ghosty thing that we did was go to Old Jail. I've done some reenactment skits on that. They're actually pretty recent because I have a roughly like 6 to 8 month window in between when things actually happen when I do reenactments. And that was wild. I think the coolest thing about that was a lot of the spirits just loved being there and they loved scaring guests. Like we got this on the Phasma box and it was really cool because some people are like, oh, did you move it ghost on? And that's something I wanted to address too. I made a door there that was by choice because where I'm at, what I feel called to do is to give spirits choice. And so I made a door, and all that they have to do is think of where they would rather be and then use the door. Because I do have a big problem with ghosts that are serving time after their life sentence is done, right? I do not like the concept of anybody being trapped anywhere. And so when I can do something about it, and I'm not moving them on, and I think that's a big important thing to say, I am offering them choice to do what it is that they want to do. And so all they have to do to use the door is think and then go through, they're out. Sometimes those areas will be in time, as in like they will time travel, because spirit is not bound by our space and time, so they can do that. They can join up with their fuller selves or their higher selves or something like that. The main thing is that they find peace so they can do what they need to do in order to process why they were staying behind as a ghost in the first place in order to decide what's best for them after that. I do get very specific when I do psychopomp work. I don't like this concept of like, oh, move them onto the light. The light can be very scary for folks. Let's say they think they deserve a bad afterlife. They may not want to go to that, and that's how they get stuck. So instead of being like, go to the light, go to this, that, or the other, I'm like, go to a place where you're happy. So that way you can process things in a safe way and then move on in a natural way. We have folks on the other side that want to work with us, but we have to be in the right space here in order to work with them. We have to be able to just sit down enough in our own peace, in our own mental health, in order to just connect with them and decide to go on to the next, whatever that means for us. And by the way, in my humble experience and what I have found, whatever that means for us, like whatever we're looking for in the afterlife, we're gonna find it. So what matters the most while you're alive is that you come to terms with what you believe in, even if it's, I don't know everything, but I'm okay with it. That's okay. If that's religion for you, if that's a spiritual practice for you, whatever that means for you, but just find what peace you can in your present and whatever you believe spiritually. That's what's going to be most important in my humble experience. So, yeah, thank you, Yellow Rose. And yeah, so I made that door. Some of them went through. We actually got information on the Phasma box that was talking, you could actually hear them talking to one another on how to use the door, which was super great. And then for the rest of them, they didn't want to move on. And I was about to shove them out. The only two, okay. I did shove 2 things out because they were not good. They were inhuman entities that were created by fear, torture, grief, shame, etc. Those were energies that could be broken up and removed because they were in the way of people having their human experiences and being able to get where they needed to go in a safe place. So that was my only exception with that. That being said, yeah, most of the spirits there, they're still there, like they're still kicking. They're having a great time. They love scaring folks. In fact, they tried to scare us on the Phasma box by like screaming and stuff, and we were like, good job! Like we kept being like, good job! And they were so like, we actually hear them on the Phasma box being like, out. So that was fun. We also have them talking on the Phasma box, which is really interesting, telling them to think at each other rather than speak to each other. A lot of spirits, it's why when using psychic senses, it's so important to not just use one sense. So a lot of them were basically telling each other think at each other rather than speak at each other, because when they spoke we could pick them up on tech, and the clear audience in the room could also pick up on them. So they were like, oh, if we think at each other like telepathically, then it won't pick up on the tech. And they were trying to get around us and trying to like outsmart us or scare us or that kind of thing, though we all came in very shielded, very grounded, and so we just had a good time. I'll say too, if anybody out there is potentially confused when I say think at somebody, it's also, you can be using a combination of claircognizance, so that's clear knowing, psychic knowing. You could also be using a combination of inner eye clairvoyance, which allows you to see like pictures with your mind. People also use this when talking with animals, for example, or itty bitty kids, or spirits, for example. So that's why I say, with psychic senses, grow as many as you can so that you can utilize whatever you need in order to create the best language between you and who you're talking to. I'll say too, if you're looking for places to grow, certainly my Q&A playlist on here on YouTube will be of interest to you, perhaps. And if you're looking to grow even more, I also have courses on my Patreon starting at $10 a month. And right now, if you were to sign into that, goodness, there are 13 courses. And if you want to binge those all within like a few days, have at it. I understand not everybody can pay $10 a month every month. You can just get all those at once if that's what you need to do. All of them are available. So, hello, nice to see you. Thanks for joining, everybody. Let's see, what is next? We did go to Savannah afterwards. Oh, that trip was I was so tired. I can hardly remember it. So we saw Inika, which Inika is ooh, that's cool. Oh my goodness. I loved that. That was very exciting. Okay, these gifts are very cool. Thank you. So yeah, words. We went to Savannah for a minute. We ran around with Inika. Inika, who is Saltwave Spanish Moss, has a tour company there. It's a historical based ghost tour company. So rather than creating sensational stories, she actually gets to the history of it. And it was really cool because we were making reads there. And the video that came out from that was actually really silly. Catherine and I went around and made reads, and we were so tired. Like, our reads were real spacey, and I said that too. It's not that they were wrong, it's just that they could have been more accurate. But we were so tired. And that's another thing too. On my YouTube and on here, I am honest with people. I'm just like, hey, where your brain is at matters. Like, where your physical mind is at really matters. So that's why it's important, if you want to get the most accurate reads, to be well rested and be in a good headspace. What are some ways to find out who is and if you have spirit guides? I actually will be doing a course on Patreon in November about that, if you want to check that out. I'm not going to be talking about that now, just because I wanted to stick to the theme of what we're talking about this live, but you're, of course, welcome to check out the other videos on YouTube, where I go into more things about spirit guides and that kind of thing. I'm really excited for that course because it's been a highly requested course by my Patreon. So yeah, anywho, let's see, that was Savannah the first time, and then let's see, the next trip that happened was, well, I did go up, yes. I did go up and visit Catherine in Pennsylvania. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's do, I almost forgot about that. So visited Pennsylvania, went to Regalsville. That video is up on YouTube as well.